So sponge filters, love them, hate them, throw them away. What's the deal with these? Alright guys, what's up? South Florida African Cichlids here. Just wanted to bring you a quick video talking about sponge filters. These are great ways to filter a tank for a little bit of money. I've used these on tanks only, and I actually have it on all my tanks, whether they're running with canister filters, with hang-on backs. There's always a sponge in there, and there's a reason for that. So as you guys might know, Hurricane Irma hit Florida and the Caribbean maybe like a month ago. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't lose any fish during that time. So what happens is, if you have a sponge filter, all you need to do is get that air line and connect it to a battery powered bubbler, and you're pretty much good to go. A sponge filter is one of the best pieces for growing beneficial bacteria, which is your biological bacteria. And you know, that's what pretty much breaks down your ammonia into nitrites and into nitrates. And that's the most important part in fish keeping, is making sure your water is free of ammonia and nitrites. Because those ammonia and nitrite spikes will eventually, you know, stress out your fish, and they can't live in those water conditions, and you're going to have fish dying. So besides being a great source of biological media, it's also great mechanical media. Now this particular filter, it's very fine, so maybe you have to clean it a little more than the coarser ones, but by being very fine, it actually filters the water very good. A lot of those small particles, you know, they get filtered out of the water. Another thing is that they also give great surface movement as well. So you obviously want, if you're just going to run your tank on sponges, you want to get a bigger sponge. If you can see here, this is the size of a sponge filter. It's rated for 75 gallons. It's a 4 by 4.5 inch sponge, so it's pretty hefty. And I have this sponge in a 20 gallon with about 20 African cichlids at 2 inches. And I've had more fish in there as well. And this sponge, since it's made for a bigger tank, it does the job well there. And if you want to do a bigger tank, they have sponges rated up to 125 gallons. So if you want to run like a 75 gallon on only sponges, I would recommend having 2 of those 125 gallon ones in there, and you should be good to go. For a 40 breeder, you could run 2 of these 75 gallon ones, or 2 of the 125s if you really wanted to. It's the more the better, you know. And just, I mean, sponge filters are the most economical, because you could have one air machine running, you know, I don't know, like 8-10 sponges. I have one air machine running, I think, 4 sponges right now, and it also runs my breeder box, and it's like a $30 fluval air machine. Now the air machines, you know, quality is important, and yeah, if you get a cheap one, it's probably gonna die out, or it's gonna be like really loud. So now I'm gonna bring you a video of... Alright guys, we are back, and let's take a look at this sponge filter. I just turned them on, so most of the fish are still sleeping back there. You can see I like to, like, almost all 3 of them go in the cave. It's hard to see them, but the male and the female are there pretty much kissing. But anyways, yeah, you can see the snails here because I just turned the light on. There's a lot. And well, here's one of the sponges. I just cleaned this one out. As you can see, look how many bubbles that's creating in oxygen. It blows it to the top of the water, keeps it moving. You can see on this tank, it's dirty because I just fed them. I'm trying to fatten this girl up so she could go back in there with the male. I'm about to go for like 3 or 4 days, and just leaving 2 females in there, if I can't keep an eye on him, is kind of risky because he gets aggressive sometimes. Last vacation I came back, one of my females was dead, so the more females the better, but it is a small tank, so I can't, you know, cram them in there. As you can see, there's a lot of poop in this one, so don't mind that. But this sponge filter pretty much runs this tank. Right now it's very dirty. You can see, look at that surface agitation just from a sponge filter. There's movement everywhere. Big bubbles. Have some plants in here. I'm about to put more plants in here too to help fight the nitrates. I'm doing water changes every 3 days now in this tank. And then here we got this little sponge filter. And this tank was running fine just on that sponge filter through the hurricane. We didn't have power for 4 or 5 days. All these tanks were running just on these sponge filters. A little ruby reds there. See the plant. I separated it, and I'm about to put one of the pieces in this tank, because this tank's not really that crowded, even though it's only a 5.5. I could cut off a piece of this hornwort too right here and put it in this tank to have more hornwort here. The fish, like these little guys, don't let anything live except the hornwort. That's a piece of Anubias in the back there. But yeah, if you already have like an air bubble or something, or an airline going into your tank, if you don't mind the look, or if you could hide it somewhere, like this one's pretty hidden. Like it's not that hidden, but it's not something that looks bad, or maybe I've just gotten used to the look, you know. But it's always good to have a sponge filter in your tank. And if you already have an airline in there, it's just buying the sponge filter and connecting it, basically. Alright guys, I hope this video was helpful. And if you do have any comments or any questions or anything, please feel free to leave them down below. And if you like the video, leave it a like. And yeah, thank you for watching, and see you next time.